Are you ready? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Y-YYC, a show where we uncover, discover, and present to you the talent shaping Calgary urban identity. In today's episode, episode 10, we meet with the one and only Rebecca Dawn.
Thanks so much for having me.
Of course. Thanks for taking the invitation. Sorry, my voice is a little rocky, but episode 10, I wanted to do it. It's Rebecca Dawn. I'm like, we're not saying no.
I respect your hustle.
Yeah.
And I'm in.
Yeah, and no matter what, she was like, don't do it. I'm like, oh, we gotta get on it. But
just artists, you know, work-life balance, assess your quality of experience in every situation. I said, hey, you want to relax, drink some chicken soup, or you want to do this?
I was like,
it's cool either way, but he wanted to do it, so here we are, Calgary.
So here we are, man. We're gonna, like I said, usually I like ease you to this, but I was like doing some research, of course, just getting prepped for the interview, and when we send the email, you know, people, you know, I said I got an email, and like your signature is like, it's like urban director, Global Fest Alberta. You have like a master in environmental science, is that what?
That's right.
You have a bachelor in ethnomusicology.
Yes.
And a bachelor in archaeology.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, once you do all this, and I still see you out, and like the freestyle and the music and the passion for the music, like, just get me to the start, like, where's the passion for the music starts, and you still go through that normal path, but it was like, no, I want to do this. Where did it start for Rebecca Dawn?
Well, I think when I came to this planet, I had the mission to understand what it means to be a human being. Mm. And so as I grew up in the world, I was searching for answers. And so digging archaeological excavations, diving into the ruins of ancient civilizations to find out what are the roots of humanity? Why are we organized this way? Why do we treat each other like this? What's the meaning of our lives on this planet? And how do we create a utopia? How do we design our own like urban communities where everyone can be happy and safe and supported and creative? How can we just live our best life every day? Like that was always my like burning question. And so as I traveled the world and studied and made music, I always had these questions of like, why are we doing this? What's the purpose? Because sometimes I would see people who were so unhappy and they'd just be like living a routine that they weren't really into and just feeling like they had all these obligations or attachments. And then I would see people who were like so happy, just like living their truth and free and open-minded, and I thought, what's the difference? So I guess the whole process, it seems really disconnected because everyone's like, you studied science at university and you make hip-hop and you travel the world and you speak Spanish, like what's the connection? But I guess just basically the connection is like understanding the human experience.
Yeah. Oh, it's crazy how you brought it like down to like the human experiences, especially like with the music and how we feel as we listen to music and stuff like that. There's a human experience. How do you connect to music and that? Like, what does music mean to you, and how did you get into, okay, I'm gonna do music, like even on the side, or like something, because the stuff you're releasing lately, we'll talk about it later, but what was the first musical experience that got you like, oh, I enjoy this?
Actually, I was 16 years old and I went to see Leona Boyd play classical guitar and it just blew my mind, and that was the first instrument I fell in love with, and I started training classical guitar, and I went to U of C as a guitar major. That was my first year at university, but then I had an existential crisis and I switched into humanities so I could like understand the meaning of life as a human. But yeah, so the guitar and classical guitar was the first like love of music that I had.
Yeah. Are you still playing guitar?
A little bit. Yeah. We're talking about bringing it back, doing some live sampling in the studio, but mixing it with hip hop or electronic. Like maybe that will be something you see in the near future.
In the near future, like I said, they hear it first. So, just, you know, give us like some, you know, little insights and stuff like that. I want to know what's coming up next. But before we push too much in the future here now, did you grow up in Calgary, or did you...
I grew up in BC, and then I moved to Mexico for 6 years, and then I've been in Calgary since 2010.
2010? Wow. A lot of us just like move down here? What made you move here in Calgary? Is there any...
Well, actually, I was just finishing up my master's degree in Mexico, and I was flying home to say hey to my parents because they were living here. I was just going to say hello, and then I had some friends call me up, and they're like, hey, you're going to be in Calgary for the weekend. There's this music festival. You should perform. So I went to perform at the festival, but I accidentally met DJ Jason. And we fell in love, and then we formed a hip-hop crew. And then 8 years later, I'm still in Calgary. So I was actually just planning to stop and say hello to my parents. I was on my way to Vancouver to try and find a job, but I just fell in love, so I stayed in Calgary. Yeah.
Talk about human experience.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's how you got into Calgary. So, okay, you get into Calgary in 2010. I moved here in 2012. I see you at, 10 of 10 and like doing like the freestyle and stuff like that, and check you out on Facebook, and you do a lot more for the community. Started with Elevate Etiquette, right? Then like Vibing Out. Vibing Out, we've just been doing fantastic stuff, like, you know, I really appreciate that. Like, what was the mindset and the process? What pushed you to get into doing those various events?
Well, after I was living in the jungle for a long time, it really brought me down to the essence of survival, because we would be like getting water from a well, or like harvesting crops, like doing work, and sleeping out in the shacks. And so it really was bringing it down to seeing like human beings like struggle to survive every day. And the music I had in my iPod for that whole experience was like KRS-One. So he was like speaking like the truth and like revolution and like just respecting yourself and changing the way the system works. And so that really got me fired up, because I thought, and I look around, the thing that I love about Calgary is we have dancers, rappers, poets, musicians, like we have producers, every type of artist. But the thing that's cool about our city is that everyone vibes together and supports each other and helps each other. And so that's what I think is beautiful. So I guess listening to music, appreciating and loving music, and making music, and seeing all my friends around me and how good they all were, I thought, there's no room for ego in Calgary, because you could be on the dance floor or anywhere and look around, and every single person you associate with is just as talented, intelligent, and amazing as you are. So all we can do is stay humble and support each other. And I actually learned there's a difference between just like saying you're happy for someone and like being happy for someone. And I think Calgary really practices the art of appreciating each other. I think that's what makes us special. Is that it's not just like what I can do for myself, or like, look at me, I'm talented, because we're all talented. Everyone's amazing. Everyone's great. But like, what can we do for each other, and how can we lift each other up? So I think I always wanted to push myself just a little bit beyond even just making my own music, but how can I showcase myself? Because you have to promote yourself. Respect yourself, love yourself. If you don't like your own music and listen to your own music, how do you expect other people to? But beyond that, also doing for others and having that attitude of service and appreciation, I think it's really important.
Ladies and gentlemen, Rebecca Dawn, wow, like, appreciate that. Elevate Etiquette, Vibing Out. Wow, okay. Because that's like really related to like what we're also trying to do. It's like you go out and he's like, yo, I know you, like, oh, I know you. I remember when we had like Feedback Friday at like, you know, like the time, and you go there and you have like all those producers, and it's like, okay, like, yeah, he's good. I don't know if I'll do it. Then you go up and I was like, oh, he's good. So like, they appreciate you. Then like you go sit back down and the next person is like, oh, shit, he's good. And it's like, wow, this city is so talented with, oh man, I appreciate what you do.
And it's true, and I love that. It's like and that's the most important thing, is like when you see somebody else and you get inspired by them, like never be intimidated or never think like, oh, they're better, I shouldn't try. Like just feel nothing but inspiration when you see success, and just feel happiness and know that if someone else is succeeding, that means you can do it too. So never be afraid, like open your heart. Because I just saw Russ at Faded in the Park in Vancouver. He was so amazing. I love Russ because his whole motto of like doing it himself. I even had a dream after the festival. He was like mopping up the floor, and I was like, hey, it's Russ, he's doing it himself. Like, wow, Russ, you're the best. But that's what he said at the end of his set. He said, you should only ever feel inspired from success. And when he talks about doing it himself, he's just talking about we should all be inspired to like do for self. And then that way when we do for self, we can do for others.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Do for self. That's one of the key sentences I'm grabbing from today. So the music.
The music.
So I was on SoundCloud, and so checking some of the track, getting ready for the interview, and just getting wow. Because every time I'm saying it, I'm like, it really, because like when you drop post for the photo, it's almost like to everybody was like, all right, get set, go. Hey,
yes.
We're on the grind now.
Now.
The level have been set. You know what I mean? So, what was the process behind a post for the photo? Like, how did that came up to be, and like the people you worked with and all that, like from the beginning to up to the amazing video.
Well, thanks for checking it out, Telly, and I really appreciate you bringing it up because Pose for the Photo is like so close to my heart. It started with I went to a beat producers competition and I saw Jay Ricky competing and I love his beats. He's such a monster. Yeah. Hit him up the next day, told him I needed some beats. He got right back to me because he's a total professional. Yeah. Such a gentleman. And so I had this like sexy urban beat and I was like, I need to do something special, something memorable with this beat. And so the most versatile artist I think we have in Calgary is Twizzy Ramos from Controverters Collective.
Shout out to Twizzy.
He can do everything from screamo, punk, hip hop, old school jazz, like new metal. He's just an amazing artist and he goes all over the map. He's always pushing himself. So I wanted Twizzy to be on it because he's got so much swag and sass and character. Yeah. Then from there, I was looking for inspiration for my lyrics and I was looking to the dance community. Because what I love about the dance community, it's like LGBTQ, it's male, female, and everything in between. It's expressing ourselves, breaking stereotypes, being free, being wild, like being on the dance floor, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. I love the dance community in Calgary, not only how they make every nightlife event better just by their presence, but how they're also just teaching the youth by day. It's beautiful. And so there were a couple dancers that really inspired me for the lyrics. One was Tori Nix, she does burlesque and hula hooping, and one was Tony Tran, he does voguing. And so just by watching their performances and taking some workshops with them, I got my lyrics written about their dignity and their grace and their social movement through their physical movement. And then from there we recorded the track. And then Connie Jacob and Movement with a Message, they're formerly Impact, they used to do, well they always do, yeah, every year they do a socially conscious theater production with like different styles of dancing from contemporary to crump and spoken word poetry, rap, live music, and they always put on a production at a high caliber, noteworthy theater in Calgary every year, and it always has a social message and it always has a call for change. And so there's somebody that I really admire and love to work with. And then Connie got a grant to do a production for Dance Montage at the University of Calgary, and we had a choreography with just over a dozen dancers, and we trained for 6 months, and we had a whole storyline and a choreography that told the tale of someone like endlessly seeking social validation online and fighting against this gnawing emptiness, but then really digging deep and discovering that our true value as humans doesn't come from our outward appearance or what others may think of us, but how we feel about ourselves. Yeah, and just like what we think when we look in the mirror, and just knowing that you are good enough and you deserve love and you're beautiful and you can just be you, and that is sexy, and it's not, no one else can define that for you. It's very like an empowerment piece. So then we bonded, it played at the University Theater for like a week. We did the show, and then after that we had all the components. We had the music, we had the choreography, we had the vocalists, and then we rented out a movie studio, and we just brought everyone together for a full day of like dancing and recording, and we had really amazing visionaries like Chris Kotomak and his brother Sean were like kind of the directors. Yeah, they run Make It YYC here in Calgary. Well, Chris does with Jay Zen, and you can check those guys out. But they're really creative, so they not only fabricated the masks that we used in the video, but they also directed a lot of the shots. And then we had Johnny Tran and his friend Wayne do all the videography. So it was just a huge collaboration of everyone contributing, and it was a fun video shoot because we just treated ourselves like VIP. We did our own catering, we brought in our own refreshments, we just treated ourselves like millionaires, and so everyone felt great. But that's just something you can do for yourselves when you have like good vibes in your community, right? You don't need a huge budget to feel like a millionaire.
I love what you just said, because it's all about us doing it for ourselves. Like, you've seen how they do it, you know, like on video and behind the scene of videos and stuff like that, and you did it yourself. I'm gonna rent it, I'm gonna, you know what I mean, have like, why not? And then like, well, you reap the benefit after. It was like such a great experience, and then you did for the fun. There's no losing that situation. It's a win-win. from what's coming out of it to the experience. Oh man.
The whole experience, like even just the process of creating that video, from writing the song to making the video, it was so much fun. Just all the time I got to spend with so many talented people, and then to see the end product just made me feel so happy, because it's like we can always remember those times when we watch that video.
Yeah. That was amazing. Oh, I can't keep going here. It's so interesting. I gotta move to the next questions here. Still related to the music. Your freestyle are just amazing. Like I'm like, how did she come up with words? So like skills. How did you work on that skills? Like how did you get that skill? Like, did you practice on it? Is it natural? Oh yeah, Rebecca born with it? Like what's?
No, I learned that skill by force. Because I used to, when I lived in Mexico, I used to have a little TV show, and we used to perform hip-hop live on the air. And I was just doing my thing. And then one day I choked on air, and I forgot my lyrics. And it was really embarrassing. And then these other hip-hop artists, local hip-hop artists from Campeche, like hit me up on Facebook, and they're like, you call yourself a hip-hop artist? You forget your lyrics on TV, and you don't even know how to freestyle. And they called me out, and they're like, if you really want to be an artist, meet us in the park, and we'll cypher with you. And I was like, okay. So I went to the park, and we cyphered, and they taught me the art of freestyle, these like Mexican street performers, and they were amazing. They would just rap about the lady selling tamales and the birds and the market and all the things, the sights and smells, everything going on. And this one guy was named Rapero, which in Spanish is like rap dog. And I remember the look in his face. He looked like a hungry dog when he was freestyling, because he was just digging into his cerebellum for any vocabulary he could find to finish the phrase, and he was not going to give up. And I remember how hungry he looked, and I was like, I always want to rap like that. I always want to bring that intensity when I'm on stage. And they taught me, and they were tough on me. They were really strict, and we practiced the art of freestyle, because freestyling, the best way to learn how to freestyle is by freestyling. So just start doing it. Don't like say you have to go home, or you need to write, or you need to prepare. Like don't make excuses. Just start doing it, and when you begin, it's going to sound terrible. Just like when you start snowboarding, you'll fall down all the time, and when you're a baby and you start walking, you'll fall down all the time. Anything you want to learn to do, you're going to be awful when you start, because you're new. You don't know yet. Like think of a baby trying to say words, right? And that's all it is. So just like when you begin your process, whatever your passion is, just don't judge yourself. Just try it. So just trying. And then when I moved to Calgary, I was really blessed, because I met Rubik's and Twizzy and Jason and Scarlett, like as soon as I got to the city, and we just got together every Thursday, and we just trained freestyling, and we trained for battle.
That's why.
Yeah, and
that's where it is. Even for Rubik's, I'm like, yo, something going on. Those guys are just so good on the freestyle.
They're insane on free. They're my favorite freestylers, and I feel so blessed that I get to be in a crew with them, because they inspire me so much, and they just bring it. And it was actually really interesting. Just recently, I had my 36th birthday, and so in hip-hop culture, thank you, you do your rounds, right? So dancers will dance however many rounds of years old they are, and same thing for rappers. So I did 36 rounds of freestyle battle rap with the crew, with the community. It went on for an hour and a half, and it was one of the most amazing experiences of my entire life. And at the end of the session, my neurons were firing, like my brain was so lit up. I didn't even feel sleepy till like 5 in the morning. It was crazy.
36 rounds.
Yeah, 36 rounds, freestyle rap.
So you can freestyle at any time. You can just get into it and just...
You want a little something? I'll give you some lovin'. Check it out. No, I'm not a one-hit wonder kid. I'm here to stay. Yo, plant my foundation. Rebecca Dawn, I elevate the hip-hop nation. I love it, this sensation. Feel it in your body. Rebecca Dawn, yeah, now you're really on me. Now I got the beat and I can ride it like a flow. Rebecca Dawn, like I'm surfing in the ocean. Oh, so just turn it up just a decibel. Listen to me, healthy like you're eating vegetables. I just love it, so I bring it for the brethren. Do it freestyle one time, don't begin again.
Rebecca Dawn right there, just wow. Alright, so the secret is just you just gotta
just do it. Just don't judge yourself. There's different techniques. I have strategies. Like one thing I'll do is I'll think of just any word and think of every single word you can possibly imagine that rhymes with that word, and make yourself a vocabulary list. Then you write those rhyming words on a wall, or a piece of paper, stick it to your wall, whatever. Then you play a beat. And then basically, because hip-hop works in 4/4 timing, right? It's counts of 4, so 1, 2, 3, rhyme. Ba, 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 but rhyme, and just practice saying sentences that end with those rhyming words, and just get to the rhyming words on that final beat.
Yeah.
And then you have a vocabulary. That's like your arsenal. That's like how jazz musicians have an infinite amount of scales they've memorized. They know what goes with what. So the more you practice, you'll have a repertoire of rhyming words, and then you can formulate sentences to say anything you want to say in the moment. But it's just like, so memorize your vocabulary and have that in the back. And it's just like how an improv musician would play their instrument. You will find your words.
Yeah. Rebecca Dawn, guys. Hey, for the one who freestyle, well, you know. For the one who don't, well, that's a strategy. Wow. Okay. All right. It's getting close to the end of the interview. I want to ask more questions. The question of the show here is YYYC. Why Calgary? Why do you think people should pay attention, and what do you think we should do to create, that scene so people can pay attention? What are your thoughts?
Well, if you're well, if you're from Calgary, then you know all year round it's amazing. But if you're not from Calgary, hit us up in the summer. That's really the time to be here. Yeah. Unless you're a snowboarder. Yeah. Unless you're like chasing winter and you ride all year round and you want to come here and snowboard in the winter, I would recommend hit us up in the summer when there's festivals. There's Folk Fest, there's Global Fest, there's a million festivals here. So the thing that makes Calgary special is it's so welcoming. And it's so multifaceted, and you could just come connect with the underground community and be welcomed. You could strike up a conversation with anybody in the room. Like, I find Calgary's a very just welcoming, friendly, like beautiful place to be. So just come experience the summer festivals and talk to people. I think that's the best thing about Calgary.
Nice. That's a nice, kind, positive, word. All right, where can people reach out to you, get more information, like look at, Rebecca Dawn, like, what can you leave our audience with?
Homies, please come check me out. I'm on Facebook, Rebecca Dawn, DAWN. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Bandcamp, especially YouTube, Vimeo. The new music videos, Pose for the Photo. If you're going to start with anything, start with that. Yeah. That's me right now. That's Rebecca Dawn 2017, as fresh as you're going to get it.
And we're just getting started.
We're just beginning.
Just getting started. Thank you very much, Rebecca.
It's my pleasure.
That was episode 10, YYYC. I'm going to go rest this voice, and I'll catch you guys next time.
They gave me episode 10 because I'm a dime. Peace out, homies.
Nice.